Okay, here we are. Are you still there?
No, they're gone. They're dead.
We're back, I think. Looks like there's levels and stuff. Looks good. Okay.
Got karma, right?
Yeah, let's do some karma, man. Maybe that'll fix things.
And the weekly karma winners, come on down.
Alright, so, hello community, and thank you for all the help that you've done. The points have been tallied, the machine has run, things have happened, and there's squirrels in a cage that we periodically feed, and they bring up the karma machine, and the karma machine runs, and then it gives prizes to people who have
good stuff for
have
us.
done good stuff. Maybe they're helping, maybe they're promoting, maybe they're working, they're doing good stuff. Here we are. Looks like Matt Waters has won a document library for helping people. Sweet, that's good work. Maybe he could put some documents together around connectivity issues on Ustream. Mini site, share it with that. It looks like I can't read from
Mando
has won something. Reviews?
Copy reviews for doing promotion.
For promoting the project. That is very important. Thank you, Mando. We appreciate it. And last, certainly not least, Lackman has won Dojo Page Filter Pro for doing some work.
Nice
Probably
work.
some PRB work, I would imagine.
Yeah, you got a theme in there.
Theme, or maybe approving other people's add-ons and stuff. That is cool. And yeah, good stuff. Thank you, everybody, for everything that you do for making concrete5 continue to grow and reaching number 9 on the most confusing top 50 list ever, and all sorts of cool milestones that we do love. So I in all sincerity, really do appreciate everything that you guys do. Where are we at now? What are we doing?
You got pictures.
Oh, what are the pictures? Let's look at some pictures. Or do you not want to do pictures, Matt?
I
lost all your pictures.
Yeah, we had to reboot. Give me a second.
All right. Well,
I can do pictures in a second.
Matt's gonna load some pictures into his trough of pictures. And while he does that,
We're gonna break it down.
We're gonna break it down, informal style.
I honestly have no idea what we would say at this
That's not what
point
to say.
without the framework of a forum post or a question.
We got some other things there. I can tell you we're not doing this next week.
We're not doing it ever again.
No, we'll do it again. We had already decided that next week, for a number of different issues, are taking Friday off. So, whilst Matt continues his picture hunt, this should be a message to you that if you've got a, God, how would I do that kind of question, you're thinking maybe I wouldn't even bother asking it this week, I'm going to save it for next week. That's the wrong play.
Yeah, do it now.
You should be thinking of how to articulate your questions, so Matt wants to read them right now. Matt, how you doing?
I got pictures.
Let's look at them.
All right, first one comes from Greg Park.
Nice.
I think it's the back of the truck, maybe.
That looks like a truck window, yeah, with a gray sky, very Portland feeling. Nice.
Very cool.
Looking good. I like it. Sharing with the world your love of Concrete5.
Next one's from Bert Olton. This is another one of his fantastic devices that he has access to.
Boy, is Bert
Where
going to
does
show
he
off
get
today.
it?
Oh my God, he's got a backhoe. I don't have a backhoe.
No.
Wow.
If you look very closely at the window, there's a little Concrete5 sticker on it.
Nice.
Where that was.
Nice. I've got some pictures from Bert of a chunk of metal he's working on for a Concrete5 marquee as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like the sound.
Yeah, some hammers and some anvils and some metal and fire and stuff. I'm pretty jazzed. Cool. What else you got?
We also have one from Ale. I think that's how I want to pronounce that one.
I like that.
Wow. That is
cool.
serious camera, man.
Yeah.
And like a whole kind of commando-y deal.
Yeah. That's
Ninja
cool.
photographer. That is cool.
I like that one.
Sweet. I'd like to see his website. I bet you there's a lot of good photos in it.
Yeah.
Telephotos. Nice.
That's it.
Cool.
Sweet.
Well, thank you for sending the pictures. It's great to know what happens when we mail those stickers out. And Matt gave everyone karma points, I'm sure. And I will reiterate, as always, that if you too would like stickers of your very own, you don't have to pay a dime.
You don't have to pay anything?
Nothing! All you gotta do is give me your mailing address. Moreover, I promise I won't mail anything to you but stickers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sell that to anyone. That's ridiculous. We respect your privacy. What I do need you to do is give me your mailing address. Full post address.
Every time.
Every time. So your name, I put that on an envelope, but It just comes back.
Maybe you got that.
Maybe you're that well known. I don't know. Your email. Also, I cannot put an email address on an envelope and stick a stamp on it. So yes, Joe Smith at 123 Fake Street. You're doing it right. You got a hat, and I need a zip. I need the whole deal. I don't know. And if you live in the UK,
put them on new lines.
give me some line breaks because your addresses read like freaking Shakespeare, man. It's like a paragraph. But yeah, look, make it and then we can send it to you like that. Beautiful. And you'll have stickers, and they'll be great. And
you can put them on stuff and show them off.
Yeah, really good stuff. So there's that, and I think it's time for fun with forums.
Introducing Fun in the Forums!
So Fun with Forums is really going to fill the second half of our intro video today. I think we're really trying to embrace the anarchy of some of these forum threads
the
today.
fun in them.
The fun, the emphasis on fun. So let's actually start with the adding a page one, because it's spectacular.
If my agents is in the chat room, you're about to get mocked.
I'm sorry, agents, but dude. Let me just read this one to you. Can someone tell me where the genius who decided to spread all the functions across the country that I can't find a simple button to add a simple page to my site? Now in caps. That's what. Where the hell is it? To add a page to my site? How? Where? I cannot find it. Half the crap is on the right panel, another hold at the bottom, another 1/3 on the left. Seriously? This was some time ago, March 8th. To which I responded, yeah, check out the subpage button under the edit button and give them a screenshot. For any bar to look like that, your upgrade didn't go well. And someone else chimes in, yeah, you might want to check the documentation before ranting. Horrible word to use in the forums, by the way. Here's a video, gives them a nice link. Tells them good luck. To which he responds, please read before preaching. My issue was no about how to do things. It's about where things are. Good luck to you. To which someone also agrees, the older version of concrete5 was more intuitive. I uninstalled newer version now. Now it takes me half a day to find a button. I agree.
It's probably because you uninstalled the newer
what that's about. But here we get to the pinnacle. What makes this a truly helpful thread, and what I agree is the best thing. Someone else marked.
Extra karma.
Arco should get extra coins.
This is genius.
Echo replies, I was given a beautiful new Jaguar once, completely free of charge. They just gave it to me and said it's yours. I got in, and the first thing I noticed is that the wipers jutted out from the middle of the windshield. I much prefer to have them coming up from the sides. Unimpressed, I went to adjust my seat, and to my chagrin, I found the seat adjuster handle on the right-hand side and not the left. My jaw dropped. Now it was inevitable that I should confuse the handle with the stick shift for the foreseeable future, putting my safety at risk. I jumped out, I went inside the dealership demanding to speak to the vehicle designer about his poor choices. They called security. Which is hilarious.
It's a very apt metaphor,
yes.
I would say.
Well, in all seriousness, gosh, guys, I don't know. Would love to help. I mean, it sounds like perhaps there's a couple of different issues going on with the first post. I think that's one thing that we could talk about in this thread, and the next one as well. Completely get that if it's if you're getting frustrated, if something isn't working, maybe there's a couple things aren't working together, you get frustrated, and then you end up in the forums.
High level of frustration already when you're making
perhaps a somewhat emotional state. Anytime you're heading for the caps lock, you're probably not going to get a lot of help out of anyone online. Really difficult to do much to respond to that kind of thing. But the Jaguar metaphors was
pretty great,
pretty apt. Totally understand 5.5 is different than 5.4. We think it's different in a good way. Of course, there's some learning involved. But that's we work in technology, people. My God, things change. So I thought that was an interesting one. Slightly similar, but perhaps in a step in the better direction is the next Fun with Forum Threads dashboard is basically useless. This one's just so broken and long, I'm not even going to bother to do the need to do and weigh and stain mother read, but The fella has a hard time, and again, it looks like there's a couple of different issues going. Like he was used to, he built a lot of his site with scrapbooks, older stuff, and so then he upgraded, and you know, there's that whole kind of scrapbooks to stacks issue, and that was making him frustrated. Doesn't mean that the dashboard is useless, it just means that you have something new to learn. And of course, there's some snarkiness as people try to help one another. There's some absolutist statement about failing miserably and whatnot. It turns out, and the funny part about this, and it's too long to summarize, but you should read it, and Echo here is busting out, I'll PM you and help you for free.
Wow.
Dude's in there like...
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there should be a badge for this. But yeah, I mean, it turns out there's actually an unrelated issue. There's a web host issue the guy has. I mean, the big thing that's pissing him off, and I can understand why, is like when he adds images, he's not getting thumbnails, it's not working right. Like he's getting something truly buggy and ganky with images, and it's not a concrete5 issue, or it's an environment issue or something, who knows. But you get that, and then you also have an upgrade, and it's like, oh, everything's wrong. But Echo helps him out. He gets the web host, figures out that something's ganky with HT access or something, and then guy comes back at the end, and all apologies for ripping on C5. You can't really mark the thread as helpful, as I don't even know how it was fixed. Can I delete the thread? Well, no, now you can't, because we just stuck it in this. But yeah, you can delete threads, I think, for 15 minutes after you make
something
them.
like that.
And,
We have the ability to delete them for all time.
Yeah, we could delete it. There's nothing all that horrible about this one, frankly. We've seen things go a lot further south. So
I can see us closing it, because these threads like these have a way of sticking around, and someone jumps in 2 years and says, "You're right," even though
someone else tries to hijack into something else. Yeah, I'm not going to bother. But I do think that it's cool that Laptop Dragon was able to get his problem solved. Clearly, it was a bumpy road.
And there's people who, even with the kind of heightened sense of like frustration, they were like interested in helping and taking a non-confrontational tone.
That's good. That's super hard.
It is hard.
We're constantly doing that and reminding folks here about, as you're trying to help support, you know, just you got to read what you're posting. Are you giving people an actual thing they can do, or are you just talking? Because you know, it's just such a wide variety of skill sets going into the forums. People have no idea what they're doing, and you know, if you can post something that gives them a measurable thing to try, hey, go talk to your web host about HT access. That's awesome. You know, the replies that don't are often the ones that get people in trouble.
Well, and especially as you're writing for search engines, you know, 6 months from now, and someone who has a similar problem Googles our site and finds that thread, like as someone who stumbles upon these forums when I have problems with PHP or SQL or whatever, it is frustrating to find someone with a similar problem to your own and then have responses immediately after which feel as though they're about to be helpful and then just...
They aren't.
They are just wholesale unhelpful. And like, it doesn't mean don't post if you don't have a specific answer, but just be mindful of what you're saying.
Muster your empathy. I think the best ones, the developer thing that we always make fun of is the threads where you ask a question because you have to do something that is actually pretty complicated that you thought about, and the answers are all, you're doing it wrong. Why would you even do that in the first place? It's like, well, because I have to. So if you can help me with that, it'd be cool.
You're not privy to all of that.
Or maybe you are, but anyway. Last one for fun with forums that will actually segue into Git conversations and a little bit more positive than the last two. Export to Excel missing data. So here's actually a good example of your thread sitting around. This was started in 2009. Someone had a bug with the export and just wasn't getting all the data out. Andy posted, oh, you changed this code to that.
And I do remember we actually fixed this in a concrete5 release.
So yeah, there was a bug in the actual data that was spit out, and so some back and forth here back in 2010 about making that work. And then someone kind of hijacks the thread and to point out that, like, well, it's not actually exporting an Excel file. It exports a table, an HTML table, but without any body tags. It's just an HTML table. Which other people have found and complained about.
Yeah, because our users list does that too.
And there's a couple of spots in that where it says export to Excel, and what we're really doing is just spitting out an HTML table.
And and we do some trickery in PHP to serve it up as an Excel file. Your browser will call it an Excel
Yep.
file and try and open it in Excel, but the actual contents of the file, if you force it to be opened in a text editor, it is just makes too
Not only will it try to open it in Excel, but it will succeed
Yes.
at opening in Excel. It works fine.
Yes, and if you have Excel, it will work, and you will be none the wiser.
None the
It's-
wiser.
it's
However,
crazy
if you do not
under
have
things.
Excel, and I can hear in my mind Chad Strat yelling at me right now
'Cause he
has, it is not a CSV file. It's not even really an Excel file, and it will not easily load into things like OpenOffice.
Numbers or whatever. Yeah, and so that is the
Less than ideal.
underlying
Yes.
the underlying thing.
That is the thing. So that's how this thread gets hijacked into, this is still not fixed. It's like, well, fixed is the wrong word. It is, the bug was fixed, it's just we didn't change what we were doing. The reason that we did that was because it was convenient.
Yeah, it was. It lets you have bolded headers.
Sure.
You don't have to futz around with escaping commas if if you're doing a CSV export and your
Right.
data has commas in it.
Sure.
You have to,
There's a lot of ways that
Yeah,
goes
it's
out.
not that hard to do, but at the time it was super easy to. It was an Easter egg that Excel supported that, and it still continues to do so because we still use that feature all the time.
Yeah.
And so we just thought, well, we'll add this as export to Excel functionality
Sure.
rather than call it something that it isn't. It's meant to be open in Excel.
Yeah.
So, and it made our lives easier and it made the data more attractive at the time.
Right.
But that said, since we're working on open standards and
Yeah, we don't disagree that this could be a CSV
A
file,
CSV
and that might be a better thing if it were,
for all different
perfect.
types, yeah.
So, in the interest of segueing well into
Yeah.
Get and Git, this is the type of thing that we
Yeah.
would happily accept a pull request for if it really worked well, and escape all characters and all the kind of stuff you really need to do. We're not like married to this approach.
No, we don't.
This is the
love
way we
Excel,
did it,
just
and
it's the thing to do.
it's done as far as we're concerned. So if someone else wants to change it to CSV, we would happily review that.
And this is specifically for the form export, but we would certainly love it for
Across the board
users as
kind
well.
of thing,
Yeah, I think
standardized
that's
kind of function we could use everywhere. Yeah,
Yep.
it should always be consistent.
Yeah.
So that let's open the Get and Git box thing because that segues well.
What did we get and get?
So this week we approved a pull request, or I think actually last week Ryan approved a pull request from 12345J, and this is a nice pull request because it's pretty encapsulated, solves a real, it plugs a hole in some functionality. If you have written, if you've done any kind of block writing for concrete5, you'll know that there's in order for blocks to make their content searchable by the generic page index in the search block, they have to define a method called getSearchableContent, and that just responds with the text content of that block that then can get stored in a database table. And our basic WYSIWYG editor block supports that, and the HTML block and stuff like that. But not all blocks. We haven't been great about getting all blocks to support that function. And so some people have been patching those. And this is a patch for the RSS displayer block. Because so what this would basically do is if your page has links from the RSS displayer displaying in its content, those will now be, the text content of those will be included in that page's main content area, or the searchable index, and then searching for those headlines will bring up that page.
Nice. Simple pull request approved by Ryan, not even Andy.
Yeah.
The process continues.
Yes.
I think we're ready for the PRB.
And now it's time for the peer review board.
Featuring new themes and add-ons.
All right. Things were approved.
Yes, they
Stuff
were.
happened. That's good stuff. Let's look at what was approved.
I think the first one is actually a little back.
Yeah,
It's the
back.
magic cursor.
Happy cursor.
Happy cursor. Thank you. Greg, what's this do?
Greg.
He's here.
So yeah, this is like a.
I know what this does.
a
This
happy
is
cursor.
important. This is a. This lets you substitute. This is an add-on that works globally on your site, and lets you substitute a different type of cursor on that particular. Actually, I guess it's on a particular page-by-page basis.
Right.
Lets you. It's block that lets you specify a special image to use as the cursor on that given page.
How fun. There you go.
That is pretty happy.
Big chunky cursor.
Yep.
Nice. Happy.
Yep. Move it along.
Hi, chat.
This is by Haneker. This is a sort of social networking chatting application. Looks to be pretty cool. I didn't test this out personally, but I know that some people put it through its paces the other day.
Fancy pants.
Yeah, I believe it's got a back-end interface for responding to website visitors, and then it's like a support style.
Oh.
Talk to the representative
Sure.
type of deal.
Sweet.
Yeah,
That's
I believe
handy.
it's all self-contained. Just works as just plugs right into your concrete5 site and has
Cool.
a dashboard chatting interface as well.
Wow. And $20 is quite a steal for that functionality.
Yeah.
Live person's a couple $100 a month. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Style Quickie. Want to add some CSS or less snippets to your pages? Then Style Quickie is the add-on for you. So this looks like it's another addition to that that jQuickie add-on that was approved a couple weeks ago. And basically,
Inline style.
yeah. So this is nothing that you couldn't do with the HTML block, but this gives you some nice
Nice UI.
syntax
Yeah.
coloring, much nicer UI. It looks like a nice tab interface.
Yeah.
That's cool. Nice.
Cool.
It's cool that it supports less as well. And this is an add-on by 12345J. It's cool. This is a full-fledged application that lets you set up basically stuff to run a sports team website,
Wow.
league stuff. So you can see Matt's screenshots, people adding teams. You can say win losses.
Cool.
Yeah. Just gonna go through all those screenshots. Is there a full demo of this available?
I don't think I saw
So
one.
that'd be a good one to have a demo available.
Yeah,
So
it would be.
there are folks that want that type of thing.
Yeah, definitely, and it's cool that it's a more full-featured add-on. A demo would be very helpful, I think. Here we go. Looks like we got some bundles for the Style Quickie add-on.
Ah. So these are free to go with the
Yeah.
site.
Looks like it's got some good help in there.
Well, that is a lot of content.
That is a lot of content. And finally, we have Pro Image, which is by Hostco. This is an add-on that gives you the image block, but with more properties to it. So probably the biggest difference about this is the image can respond to the size of your browser window. So if Matt were to take this browser window and resize it, the image actually gets smaller as the browser window goes down.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
Doesn't play well with the Ustream.
No.
But
And then
what does?
yeah, exactly. And there's a CDN support, so hosting the image in a content delivery network.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm not totally clear on how that works with this, but it looks like it's been pretty well thought out. And there's some other options in there as well. So this is the image block that has been extended for this.
Pro'd up.
It's been pro'd up.
Extra pro.
Yep.
Cool.
And there's also some custom templates in there too. So
Sweet.
check that out. Check out the live demo.
Cool, yeah. So, yeah, well, half a dozen things approved. New PRV interface seems to be working really well.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth in there, and it's nice to be able to filter out the add-ons that aren't quite ready, don't quite pass all their tests.
I think that it's time for us to do how would we do that.
Yes, I agree.
How would we do that?
Sweet. All right, gang, what do you want us to do?
Okay, question from Genovo. Can we please have any guidance on PhoneGap and concrete5? Are there any docs we can read on this, i.e. connecting to the database, etc.?
On what?
PhoneGap?
I
believe
heard
it's-
that, but I can't remember exactly what it is, to be honest.
Let's
with
ask
you.
Google.
Some kind of mobile frame.
HTML5 app platform allows you to offer native applications with web technologies and get access to APIs and app stores. That sounds like a bunch of jibber jabber. What is this? Oh my god. leverages stuff into tubes.
We have not really played with this very much, so I don't know that we'd be the best to answer.
I have no idea. Yeah, none of us know what this is or why.
It's a book.
It's oh yeah, we got one of those too. But build your app once with web standards. Wrap it with phone gap. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know why you would need this or what you would do. The best I'm guessing is that it does a whole lot of detection around the many, many unique mobile platforms and tries to standardize that. Here we go. Mobile development's mess. Building applications for each device. Yep. And they're not working together, so this is a standards kind of thing. Yeah, I think this should definitely be integrated with concrete5 as an add-on in some kind of compelling way. There's a couple of add-ons already in the marketplace that kind of let you do mobile theme switcher and give you access to the browser agent so you can start to do detection and serve different content or themes for mobile. But it looks like this one might come with some libraries that make your life a little bit easier. Shot on up, but clearly we are not the experts on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question.
Compelling answer.
Question from Boganaz. What are your recommendations for running a concrete5 based site on Amazon servers in 2 server instances for load balancing?
My recommendation is to not do that because Amazon servers are punky. Sorry, Amazon, but your servers go down. Talking about S3 and like doing 5 based hosting on Amazon servers?
Yeah, probably EC2.
EC2, all that? Yeah, I don't know, man. You can do that. Sure. We've had clients do that and have things never really work all that well.
Yeah, as far as like actually using a multi-server setup from Amazon, like having one as load balancing, we don't have any special tips that make it different from regular load balancing. I mean, if you've got access to those servers and you've got some load balancing software on there, it should.
So he's talking about caching and backup. I mean, I wouldn't have a...
It would be the same as with all the same, I think all of the same server
general
recommendations.
Advice. Okay, so here's our general advice for high load sites that need multiple servers. First off, your site really needs to be pretty heavy load to need multiple servers.
Yeah.
You know, our site serves somewhere between 3 and 6 million page views a month. It's a single box, an asset server.
That's really not
Doing
necessary.
much.
Yeah,
So when we have our own site, there's a blog post about this. We have our own site on one beefy box, and then we have a secondary server that we call the asset server. But all we're really doing is sticking some CSS files and some images that our themes reference in there. So there's no real concrete5 integration between those.
Yeah, we had used that second server as a memcache server, but with our recent server upgrade, our current the sort of main web host has an impressive amount of RAM and more than we actually use, well more than we actually use. And the latest version of APC is quite a bit more stable than I've seen it be in the past. So at this point, we've retired that second box as memcache, and we just use APC on the main box, and not had a problem with that since switching over at all. And it's quite a bit faster than it used to be. So I think one bigger box is better than multiple smaller boxes.
I agree
for a concrete5 site, unless you're talking about a massive load that you really are going to have to do.
Yeah, so if you've got a huge load, so if you are a major 4G wireless provider whose name I will not mention, and you know, you're serving like 70 million page views a month, then you're going to want multiple servers to do that.
Yeah.
And so you're probably going to have a load balancer in front of them, and you're probably going to need to do the custom tomfoolery to make sessions managed in the database.
Yeah. Or you're going to get a load balancer that can keep you on one box once your session gets stuck there.
Right. So everything in concrete5 uses a session, even if you're just a visitor. So you've got to maintain that session. So that's one thing to worry about is doing that. You know, you could think about having assets on like your files on a different server than your database. It's probably not a completely bad call if you're like
If you've got high-speed interconnect between your web server, you know, that is a legitimate call, is to get concrete5 running on a, you know, really lightweight web server like Nginx, which we don't really support but does work, and then use a separate MySQL server. And,
I mean, one might argue that, look, I can configure a server to run MySQL fast, I can configure a server to be a web server fast, and those are different problems.
Yeah, and I don't want one to affect the other.
Yeah, I'm with that. So you can have one big database server and then a couple of different Apache servers behind the load balancer, and that would be a beefy solution.
Yep.
I mean, that's what we would probably recommend for a top 1,000 enterprise type player. People get into, we have danced with doing MySQL master slave type stuff in the past and had negative experiences. I would probably avoid that unless you really can test it and show some measurable improvement in some way. And then I guess all of that being put aside, the cloud thing is tough, man. You really want to ask yourself, do you see the need for handling huge spikes, or massive changes in what's going to happen? Because that's where the cloud, I think, really, or cloud-based servers can really help you. Is, oh, okay, now that we're popular, we need to scale up. I have 30 minutes, not 3 days to do that. My experience has been a lot of people want to have that problem, but many don't. So we'll have enterprise clients that know exactly what their audience is because they're selling a product to the same audience, and but they still feel the need to host it in the cloud because they've been to some conference or something, and it's like, a dedicated machine has worked for 30 years. Everything's right there.
Big sites.
It's all soldered together into one blob, and things move fast inside there. And then you get this cloud stuff, and it's not really clear where anything is, and is your database actually running? How many feet of Cat6 are between you and your database? No one knows. Then you get things where it's just like Amazon drops 3 out of 5 parts of their cloud, and there's really nothing you can do about it, and that just seems extraordinarily frustrating.
Yeah.
We've had some success recently with kind of a hybrid model. We use Liquid Web a lot for dedicated machines and whatnot, and they now have something called smart servers, and that has kind of made us rethink the cloud was always bad for web hosting philosophy. It's a bit of the best of both worlds. So there's still kind of a, your whole server is kind of like imaged, but you're still, best I understand, on a physical machine. So you buy a machine with the specs that you normally would think of. I need this much memory, and then they're kind of like, they make sense that way. But then you can also easily upgrade or downgrade as you need to, and you pay by the day for your usage. So if you do have a site that's like, well, it might be on the news and get a lot of traffic, you can upgrade the night before. Depending on how much data is on your drive, it's going to take a couple of minutes to like maybe an hour of downtime as they like move the image from one machine to another. But compared to like what you would have to do on a traditional dedicated box, where it's just like, that's your box. You really can't very easily move off of a box or upgrade that way. So check out smart servers from Liquid. We really like them. They've been good to us so far.
Yeah.
It's worth exploring, and there's a lot of advice on that question. Any follow-up on that, or can we move on?
I think we can move on. That sounds like a pretty good answer for that.
Just get you started.
One from John the Fish, follow-up from last week. How can he use add header item or otherwise load a concrete5 JavaScript that begins with an underscore character?
Oh, I got this private message that I have not yet responded to.
Private message.
There shouldn't be any difference with, well, okay, this is, I guess, is 2 questions. If you're just loading something random that has underscore in it, you just call it the same way you would if it didn't. But if you're actually trying to load the JavaScripts that are in the CCM app folder that have the underscores in them, they're not really meant to be loaded by themselves. They're in that folder so that they can be combined together into ccm.app.js. And their underscore is there to control the order in which they're loaded. And that is the end of that question.
There you go.
Cool. We got a follow-up question from Bogdanez. What's the best way to transfer upgraded code from a dev box to a production server without service interruptions?
Ooh. Okay, so these are getting into more production workflow type questions than concrete5. I mean, these are challenges you have with any solution, unless your solution is team site and all it does is do this. So if you have a complicated site, like we do, you've got the database, you've got files, and if you're making a major upgrade to it, both of those change and they require each other. So you have a chicken and the egg problem when it comes to launching. And like most chicken and the egg problems, there's no perfect solution. It kind of depends on what the chicken looks like and what the egg looks like and how you want to eat your scrambled eggs and stuff. What we will typically do is try to look for what files we can put up before, without impacting the site in its current version. So if there's new page types or something, well, I can put the new page type files up in there without worrying about it and kind of piecemeal your way that. And then do your database upgrade. There's no way to do this that I know of. I mean, the other way to approach it is, okay, you can take your a staging version of your live site, get it nice, and then use DNS just to point traffic over, and so you have the experience of no interruption, but you're basically just pointing it to the new instance versus the old one. That works well if you're not worried about any kind of audience-driven content. Yeah. This is a good thing to really stop and think about, and we've noticed that a lot of the larger players using concrete5 don't use any guest books or forums or e-commerce add-on. Nothing that the community, that the rest of the world will be submitting really matters. They're not using the form block; they're using the Salesforce forms. So it really is them publishing out type thing. And if that's the case, then you could really treat the whole thing as the same way you would treat HTML. Well, just look, here's the current site, here's the new site, and we're just going to switch DNS to point to the new one because you don't really care about anything that might be happening in real time.
Yeah, and that would totally work.
That's the best. If you have that problem, you're golden.
We don't
have that problem. We're at the marketplace, we're selling stuff from the marketplace, and we have bigger problems.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when we're upgrading concrete5.org, we take it down. There's just no other way that we could come up with to do it. I'm sure that there is for any specific upgrade. I mean, if you really are like, we're a financial trading company, and we simply can't, okay, I encourage you to think about what you might be able to do at 1 a.m. versus 3 p.m. But I'm sure if we were to look at any of the upgrades that we have applied to concrete5 and we were like, it doesn't matter how much it costs or how long it takes, we need to make this happen without the site going down, we could probably figure out a granular way to roll those changes out without breaking anything, but it would be entirely dependent on the changes, right?
Yeah, and it would be, it's entirely dependent on exactly how those have to go out, so you're going to have someone in the trenches altering your database by hand, and they have to keep a list of what they need to do, and it's like surgery.
There's a lot of rsync, some long lists, and that's just the way that works. There's more kind of thought that you can put into how you want your production cycle to look. Like you want, we've seen folks like mirroring the live database for developers to work locally, so you can create what you need in the live database in terms of like content for page types that are going to be new. Point to the live database from your local install, work against that, and then just push the files up, and so you get kind of a seamless experience that way. I believe that is how our large 4G wireless provider guys do it. They've got the files are kind of encapsulated into weekly pushes that they do up, but the database they're willing to kind of play a little looser with.
Yep.
Anyway, I hope that helps. I think that's one of those. There's no perfect way. It depends on your problem type of answers. And with that, I think we're getting pretty close to done, unless there's something else you got there, Matt.
I think everything's been answered, that I see at least.
Okay, cool. Well, it's very hot here, so we're going to get back to work. We will see you not next week, but the week after. Something else. Don't stop streaming. And yes, at that point, hopefully, since it seems like we got it figured out now, all of our connectivity issues with Ustream will be resolved.
Hooray.
Hooray. See y'all in a fortnight. In a fortnight.
Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time.